Y'all, I'm going to show you how to divide fractions. It's pretty straightforward. It's not too difficult. If you don't remember how to divide fractions, looking at this setup could be pretty intimidating, but it's just a couple of steps. So the steps are you take the first term, which is 3 over 7, you keep it exactly how it is, right? You take the second term and you flip it or you invert it, right? So we put the 3 on top. It was in the bottom. Now it's at the top, right? And you're going to change the sign from division to multiplication, right? So what we're doing is we're basically taking the second term, flipping it, and then we're going to do multiplication. Even though it says dividing, we're actually multiplying. And that's called multiplying the reciprocal. And what we're essentially doing is just going across and multiplying, right? So the numerator, the top part of the fraction, we're just going to multiply across. 3 times 3 is 9. 7 times 2, the denominator right here, is 14. This right here is the answer. Let's try the second one. So what the rules were, we take the first term, we keep it exactly as it is. We take the second term, right? We flip it, which is the reciprocal, and then we multiply, so we're changing the symbol. Now with this, there's a couple of ways to do this. We're going to go ahead and just implement what we've been doing, right, since the start of the video series. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply across the top part, the numerator. 12 times 5 is 60. Bottom part, 4 times 5 is 20. This could technically be the correct answer, but there is an expectation for you to reduce, right, and simplify. So there's a few ways of doing it. I'm going to do a very standard method, which is just divide everything by half every time. Some of you might be looking at this and you can see a different way of doing it immediately, but we're going to go ahead and implement this just so you can get used to simplifying if it's not intuitive right now. So if we just divide everything by half or 2, right, we're going to get 30 in the top, we're going to get 10 in the bottom. Well, I can keep going. Let's just go ahead and do the half thing again that we tried doing earlier. And I get 15 here, and I get 5 over here. Can I keep going? Yeah, most certainly. Let's see. So if I were to keep dividing that, this would become a 1. This would become a 3, because 5 goes into 15 3 times, right? So I get a whole number of 3, which is pretty exciting. So that is the answer. Okay, so let's say you have to divide fractions. You have a fraction, and then you have a whole number. What would I do? So anytime you see a setup like this, whether it's adding, dividing, multiplying, subtracting, always take the whole number, which is the number by itself, and you're going to put a little invisible 1 in the bottom. Always, right? That's the setup of what you're going to do before you actually start doing the problem, right? So we're just going to follow the format we've been following. You're going to take the first term, or the first fraction, which is half. We're going to take the second one and we're going to invert it, or we're going to flip it, right? 1 over 7. And we take the division symbol and we turn it into multiplication. Now we're just going to go across. We're going to go into the numerator, which is the top. 1 times 1 is 1. We're going to go into the denominator. 2 times 7 is 14. This is the answer. What about this last one, where it's just a bunch of numbers stacked on top of each other? What do I do here? Well, we're going to have to essentially pull it apart. It's nothing too complicated. You don't have to do any math if you're going to pull it apart. So let's go ahead and put the numerator on one side and the denominator on the other. Now, what you do is the top number always goes first, right? So the numerator would come up to the front, be the first term, and then we're going to do the division symbol because we haven't adjusted anything yet. We're just essentially rewriting it. and we're going to put the bottom number exactly as it is as the second term. That's just the way this is set up when we rewrote it essentially. Now we can actually start working towards the problem's answer. So what do? Well, I have a whole number and a fraction. So I look at the fraction, I look at the whole number and I turn it into a fraction. How do I do that? I put that invisible 1 that we were talking about earlier. Now I can do the inverse. I can multiply by the reciprocal, which means I keep the first guy exactly as it is. I take the second part and I flip it, right? It becomes 2 over 3, and then I multiply. Right, so let's go ahead and take the top numbers. 4 times 2 is 8. The bottom is 1 times 3. The bottom is the denominator, which is a 3. And we can't reduce it any further, so this is the answer. So when we're dividing fractions, all we're doing is we're taking the first part, the first term, or the first fraction, and we're keeping it exactly identical as it is. You take the second fraction, flip it, and then you're going to multiply. So you change it to a multiplication symbol. Those are the 3 basic steps. I hope this helped. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.